My child, do not scroll away from this message too quickly. You almost left, but something in your spirit told you to stay. That feeling is not an accident. I know your heart has been carrying questions you do not always say out loud. I know. There have been nights when you smiled in front of people while silently fighting battles no one could see. I know there were moments when you prayed with faith, waited with patience, and still watched doors close in front of you. If you believe God is opening a new door for you, right, God is making a way, and now you wonder. Was it rejection? Was it failure? Was it the end? But I, your God, am speaking to you today. The door you thought was closed, I am opening it. Yes, my child, hear me carefully, because this message is not arriving by chance. You have cried over things you did not understand. You have blamed yourself for outcomes that were never fully in your control. You have replayed painful moments again and again, wondering if you missed your opportunity, if you made the wrong choice, if your season of favor somehow passed you by. But I tell you now, what looked closed to you was never beyond my power. What appeared final was never outside my plan. You saw silence, I was arranging. You saw delay, I was protecting. You saw rejection, I was redirecting. There are some people listening to this message who have been standing in front of emotional doors that would not move. You tried to repair relationships. You tried to hold families together. You tried to keep peace inside your heart while carrying wounds nobody recognized. If this message touched your heart, write, I receive this message. And when nothing changed, you began to believe the door was permanently shut. Others listening have faced financial pressure. You prayed for provision, searched for opportunities, worked hard, and still felt stuck watching others move forward while your own path seemed blocked. And there are those whose spiritual strength has grown tired. You still believe in me, but if you are honest, your heart has become weary from hoping. You did not stop loving me. You simply became tired of hurting. But hear me now. I have not forgotten you, not for one moment. The enemy wanted you to interpret delay as abandonment. He wanted disappointment to become your identity. He wanted you to build permanent conclusions around temporary circumstances. But my plans for you are not buried inside your fear. My plans still breathe, my promises still stand, and what I speak over your life cannot be cancelled by closed doors, human opinions, missed opportunities, or seasons of waiting. My child, some doors closed because they were never meant to carry your destiny. I know that truth is difficult to accept, because sometimes you loved the door. Sometimes you prayed specifically for that opportunity. Sometimes you imagined your future through that relationship, that job, that dream, that expectation. Declare your faith today by writing, my door is opening. If you refuse to give up on God's timing, write, I will keep trusting God. And when it closed, part of your heart closed with it. You questioned your worth. You questioned your future. You questioned whether I was still near. But what you called loss, I sometimes call rescue. You do not always see what I see. You cannot always recognize what I protected you from. There were conversations hidden from you, motives hidden from you, consequences hidden from you, battles hidden from you, and because I love you, I sometimes close doors that would slowly destroy your peace. I do not remove things to punish you. I remove what cannot travel where I am taking you. Listen carefully. Not every closed door is spiritual defeat. Some closed doors are divine mercy, and today, I am asking you to release the grief attached to what did not work. Release the bitterness. Release the self-blame. Release the exhausting question that keeps repeating inside your mind. Why did this happen to me? Because if you stayed trapped inside yesterday's disappointment, you may fail to recognize tomorrow's opening. Write one word you're believing God for right now: healing, peace, breakthrough, restoration, or miracle. My child, I never asked you to understand every detail before trusting me. I asked you to walk with me. And even now, I know trust has not been easy. Some of you listening have trusted people and been betrayed, trusted promises and been disappointed, trusted timing and become discouraged. So now you guard your heart. You expect disappointment before hope. You prepare for rejection before possibility. You stand near doors already convinced they will never open. But I am healing that expectation because your future is not controlled by your past pain. What happened before does not have authority over what I am doing now. You are not permanently assigned to heartbreak. You are not permanently assigned to lack. You are not permanently assigned to confusion. I am still the God who makes a way, and I am not limited by locked places. Do you remember how many times I moved when situations looked impossible? I opened paths through wilderness. I made ways through impossible places. I transformed mourning into testimony, and I have not changed. The same power that moved then still moves now. So do not mistake delay for denial. Do not mistake silence for absence, and do not assume that because a door stayed closed for a season, it will remain closed forever. If you've been waiting for God to move, right. God has not forgotten me, because there are movements happening that you cannot yet see. Pieces aligning, hearts shifting, opportunities forming, healing beginning. And what looked motionless is already moving. My child, you have been praying for proof, but faith often grows before evidence appears. And I know that is difficult because you are tired of waiting for signs, tired of hoping, tired of carrying invisible battles. But I did not bring you this far to leave you standing outside forever. I see your tears. I hear your whispered prayers. I remember every moment you cried in secret, and I am closer than you realize, my child. I know there were moments when you almost gave up, not because you stopped believing in me, but because life became heavy. The pressure became exhausting, the waiting became uncomfortable, and disappointment began whispering dangerous thoughts into your mind. You started asking questions you never imagined asking. Maybe this is all my life will ever be. Maybe nothing will change. Maybe that opportunity was my only chance. And quietly, without realizing it, your heart began lowering its expectations. You learned how to survive disappointment instead of expecting restoration. You learned how to function while hurting. You learned how to smile while carrying sadness, and though people around you praised your strength, they did not see the private exhaustion living inside your spirit. Type Amen. If you believe closed doors are not the end of your story, but I saw it. I saw the tears you wiped away quickly. I saw the prayers that sounded more like sighs than sentences. I saw the nights when your thoughts would not rest, and your mind replayed fears like a broken recording. I saw the loneliness you never explained. And I am speaking to that wounded place inside you today. You are not abandoned, you are not forgotten, and this story is not ending where you thought it would, because the door you thought was closed. I am opening it, but hear me carefully. Before you walk through the new door, I must heal the version of you that became comfortable expecting rejection. Because sometimes the greatest barrier is not the locked door. Sometimes the greatest barrier is the wounded heart standing in front of it. You have experienced enough disappointment that hope feels risky. Enough delay that expectation feels dangerous. Enough closed chapters that trusting again feels vulnerable. And I understand that. I am not angry with your weakness. I am not offended by your tears. I am not disappointed by your struggle. I know what you have carried, but I refuse to let pain become your permanent identity. A pain may have visited your life. It may have shaped certain seasons. It may have left scars, but it does not own you. You belong to me. and what belongs to me is not defined by defeat. My child, some of you listening have been standing before doors connected to purpose. Dreams you buried, ideas you stopped pursuing, callings you pushed aside because fear convinced you it was too late. Maybe you once believed you could build something meaningful. Maybe you once carried excitement about your future, but discouragement slowly covered your vision. People doubted you, circumstances delayed you. If you're praying for a fresh beginning, write, "God, open the right door," and eventually you stop trying because failure felt safer than disappointment. But I did not place purpose inside you by accident. I did not create you to live buried beneath fear. The enemy celebrates when you shrink. He celebrates when you call yourself unworthy. He celebrates when you believe your mistakes are stronger than my mercy. Because if he can convince you that your story is finished, you will stop looking for the doors I am preparing to open. And that is why this message matters, because I am interrupting hopelessness. I am interrupting despair. I am interrupting the lie that says your best days are already behind you. No, hear me clearly. There is still life ahead of you. There is still meaning ahead of you. There is still purpose waiting for you. And I am not limited by your age, your past, your failures, or the opinions people formed about you. Some people already decided who you are. They placed labels on you. They measured you by old mistakes. They remembered who you were, but failed to see who you are becoming. And for a while, their opinions wounded you. You tried to prove yourself, tried to earn acceptance, tried to become enough for people who were never assigned authority over your identity. Declare this over your life. What God has for me cannot be blocked. But my child, you do not need human permission to walk in divine purpose. What I approve cannot be destroyed by human rejection. What I bless cannot be permanently blocked. And what I open, no enemy can fully shut. I know there are listeners carrying disappointment from opportunities that disappeared. You thought the job was yours. You thought the relationship would survive. You thought the plan would succeed. You thought the breakthrough had finally arrived. And when everything changed, your heart struggled to understand. You looked at the closed door and concluded, it must be over. But let me reveal something important. Not every loss is destruction. Sometimes I remove lesser things because greater things are approaching. And I know that is hard to hear when you are grieving, because grief does not always come from death. Sometimes grief comes from expectations, from plans, from dreams, from futures you imagined but never experienced. And grief is real. I do not mock your pain. I do not dismiss your heartbreak. I sit with you in it. I comfort you through it. But I also call you beyond it. Because grief cannot become your home. There is healing waiting for you. There is movement waiting for you. There is restoration waiting for you, my child. There are doors that closed because the timing was wrong. Not because you were wrong. Timing matters. You wanted immediate answers, but I work with eternal wisdom. You wanted quick results, but I see consequences beyond the present moment. You saw the door and wanted entry. I saw the entire road beyond it. And because I love you, I refuse to open doors prematurely. A blessing at the wrong time can become a burden. Responsibility without preparation can crush confidence. Opportunity without maturity can destroy peace. So when I delayed certain things, it was not punishment. Before you leave, write, thank you, God, for what is coming, and stand in faith today. It was preparation. You called it waiting. I called it strengthening. You called it silence. I called it positioning. You called it emptiness. I called it development. There were lessons your spirit needed, strength your character needed, wisdom your heart needed. And though the process felt lonely, you were never alone. I was teaching you how to stand without depending on unstable foundations, because the next season of your life cannot be built on fear. It cannot be built on desperation. It cannot be built on approval addiction. It must be built on trust. And trust is formed when circumstances cannot explain peace. My child, there are some doors I am opening internally before I open them externally. That is something many people misunderstand. They pray for circumstances to change while ignoring the condition of their own heart. But inner healing matters, because wounded hearts often sabotage answered prayers. Fear sabotages, bitterness sabotages, unforgiveness sabotages, self-hatred sabotages. And I love you too much to let old pain govern new blessings. So if you have felt me exposing hidden wounds, do not run. If old emotions have surfaced, do not panic. Healing sometimes feels uncomfortable before it feels freeing. I am not reopening pain to torment you. I am uncovering pain to heal you, because where I am leading you, freedom matters. Peace matters. Wholeness matters, and I want your heart healthy enough to enjoy what I place in your hands. If you believe God is opening a new door for you, write, God is making a way. Listen closely. Some of you are waiting for me to open doors while refusing to release what already closed. You keep visiting old pain, old conversations, old regrets, old identities. You replay what should have been left behind. And I say this gently, you cannot embrace new doors while clinging tightly to old ruins. There comes a moment when faith must release the ashes. You cannot heal while constantly reopening wounds. You cannot move forward while building memorials to disappointment. My child, the chapter ended, but your life did not. The relationship ended, but your worth did not. The opportunity ended, but your future did not. The season ended, but my purpose did not, and I need you to hear this with your whole heart. You survived things that once convinced you that you would break. Look at yourself. You are still here, still breathing, still praying, still searching for me, still hoping even if hope feels fragile. That alone is evidence of my sustaining power. Do not underestimate the miracle of survival. There were moments when darkness pressed heavily against you, moments when your emotions felt louder than your faith, moments when fear spoke more convincingly than peace, yet somehow you endured. That endurance was not accidental. I carried you, even when you felt weak, especially when you felt weak. My child, I know you compare your journey with others. You watch people move forward, watch doors open for them, watch prayers answered for them, and secretly you wonder, what about me? Did God forget me? But comparison is stealing your peace. If this message touched your heart, write, I receive this message. You see snapshots. I see entire destinies. You see timing. I see purpose. Their road is not your road. Their assignment is not your assignment. And I refuse to measure your worth against somebody else's season. Stop interpreting another person's breakthrough as proof of your delay. Your story is not behind schedule. You are not too late. And what I have planned for you does not depend on racing against someone else. Because my plans do not expire, my promises do not weaken, and my ability to open doors is not diminished by time. There are doors opening that nobody around you even knows exist. Unexpected conversations, unexpected favor, unexpected restoration, unexpected redirection. And when these things begin unfolding, you will understand why certain doors remained closed. Because what I am opening will carry peace instead of confusion, clarity instead of chaos, growth instead of fear, and my hand will be upon it. So do not lose heart now. Do not retreat now. Do not surrender your expectation now. You are closer than you realize. And though you cannot yet see the full picture, Movement has already begun. My child, there is something I need you to understand about the doors in your life. Declare your faith today by writing, "My door is opening." You often judge a door by how quickly it opens. If it opens easily, you call it favor. If it resists, you call it failure. But not every easy door is from me, and not every delayed door is against you. Discernment matters because there were doors that looked beautiful but carried hidden sorrow. Doors that promised relief but concealed bondage. Doors that appealed to your emotions while quietly leading you away from peace. And because you could not see what was ahead, I stood between you and certain outcomes. You cried because the answer was no, but you did not know what that no protected you from. I know there are things you still do not understand, and unanswered questions can be heavy. You wanted explanations, you wanted clarity, you wanted me to show you the entire map before taking the next step. But faith does not always receive the whole picture. Faith receives enough light for the next step, and sometimes that step feels frightening because uncertainty makes you uncomfortable. You want guarantees, you want certainty, you want assurance that your trust will not lead to disappointment. But listen carefully, my child. I have never asked you to trust the circumstances. I asked you to trust me. Circumstances change, people change, opportunities change, but I do not change. And the same God who sustained you through closed doors will sustain you through opened ones. If you refuse to give up on God's timing, write, "I will keep trusting God," because some of you listening are afraid of disappointment happening again. That fear has become quiet but powerful. You do not always say it aloud, but it lives beneath your expectations. You hesitate to believe too much. You hesitate to celebrate too early. You hesitate to hope fully because somewhere inside you, pain taught you that expectation can hurt. So you protect your heart by expecting less. You call it realism. You call it caution. But sometimes it is fear wearing wisdom's clothing. And I'm exposing that fear today, not to shame you, to free you, because fear was never meant to govern your future. Fear studies failure and predicts more failure. Fear remembers rejection and expects more rejection. Fear builds prisons out of yesterday, but faith remembers me. Faith remembers my faithfulness. Faith remembers that I can move in ways beyond human logic. And I am calling you back into faith, not blind optimism, not pretending pain never happened, but courageous trust, the kind of trust that says, I may not understand everything, but I know God has not abandoned me. Write one word you are believing. God, for right now, healing, peace, breakthrough, restoration, or miracle, my child. Some of you have quietly believed that you missed your chance. That thought has wounded your heart more than you realize. You tell yourself, if only I had chosen differently. If only I had acted sooner. If only I had been wiser. And regret keeps pulling your thoughts backward. But hear me now. I am greater than your mistakes. Do not crown regret as if it is stronger than my mercy. You are not powerful enough to ruin every plan I have for your life. Yes, choices matter. Yes, actions have consequences, but my grace still moves, my mercy still restores, and redemption is still possible. The enemy wants you imprisoned inside guilt, because guilt drains courage. Guilt silences hope. Guilt convinces you to stop expecting goodness. But I did not create you to live condemned. I created you to live restored. You keep thinking your failures disqualified you. But if failure had final authority, no one would walk in purpose. Think of the times people in Scripture stumbled, doubted, ran, broke, and struggled. If you've been waiting for God to move, write, God has not forgotten me, yet I still use them. Not because they were flawless, because I am faithful, and I am still faithful now. So stop speaking permanent defeat over temporary seasons. Stop calling yourself forgotten. Stop announcing hopelessness over your own future. Your words matter. What you repeatedly believe begins shaping how you walk. And I am inviting you to speak differently. Not from denial, from trust, because heaven is not agreeing with the hopeless story fear has written about your life. My child, there are doors opening that will require courage from you, and this is important. Many people pray for open doors, but resist the responsibility attached to them. You pray for change, but fear transition. You ask for growth, but resist discomfort. You want new chapters while secretly longing for old familiarity, but growth stretches you. Open doors require movement, and movement requires trust. Some of the things I am opening will not look exactly how you imagined. You expected one path, I prepared another. You imagined one timeline. I arranged a different one, and if you cling too tightly to your expectations, you may overlook my provision. Be careful not to worship the picture you created, because sometimes your imagined future becomes so rigid that you fail to recognize my better plan. And I know that surprises you. You assumed blessing would look a certain way, but I see beyond appearances. I know what nourishes your soul. I know what strengthens your peace. I know what aligns with your calling, and I refuse to settle for appearances when I desire wholeness for you. My child, you have entered a season where discernment will become necessary. Not everyone who approaches you belongs in your next chapter. Type Amen if you believe closed doors are not the end of your story. Not every invitation deserves your yes. Not every opportunity deserves your energy. Because when doors begin opening, distractions also appear. And I need you listening closely to my voice. Some people only celebrated you when you were weak. They felt comfortable while you doubted yourself. They enjoyed your insecurity because it made them feel secure. But when growth begins, not everyone will understand. Not everyone will celebrate, and that must not stop you. You cannot make permanent decisions based on temporary opinions. You cannot abandon purpose to preserve human approval. My child, the approval you seek from people often keeps you standing outside doors I already opened. You wait for validation, wait for permission, wait for everybody to agree, but purpose does not grow inside constant hesitation. There are moments when faith must step forward, and I know that feels uncomfortable, because stepping forward means vulnerability. It means risk. It means leaving familiar ground. But remember this, you are not stepping alone. I go before you. I walk beside you. I remain behind you. And the door I open will not depend solely upon your strength. It will depend upon my presence. Some of you are entering a season of restoration. I know you almost stopped believing restoration was possible. If you're praying for a fresh beginning, write, God, open the right door. You became skilled at surviving disappointment. You adapted to emptiness. You learned how to exist without expecting healing. But I am not merely the God of survival. I am the God of restoration. And restoration does not always mean returning to what was. Sometimes restoration means receiving what is healthier, stronger, wiser, more aligned. Do not confuse restoration with repetition. I am not interested in repeating cycles that wounded you. I am interested in healing what wounded you. So release the fear that says, what if I get hurt again? Because that question has held you hostage. Instead ask, what if God is doing something new? What if the closed door was preparation? What if the delay was mercy? What if the waiting strengthened you for something deeper? My child, you have prayed prayers that seemed unanswered. and unanswered prayer can test the heart, especially when the answer feels delayed beyond your understanding. Declare this over your life: what God has for me cannot be blocked. You watched days become months, months become seasons, and hope became harder to hold. But understand this: silence does not mean inactivity. While you worried, I worked. While you cried, I positioned. While you waited, I prepared. There were details beyond your sight, conversations beyond your hearing, protection beyond your awareness. You measured progress by visible evidence. But I was moving invisibly. And just because movement was hidden did not mean movement was absent. Seeds grow underground before appearing above the surface, and many spiritual seasons work the same way. You judge the season by what you could not see, but hidden does not mean dead. Quiet does not mean forgotten, and delayed does not mean denied. My child, I know some of you feel emotionally tired of fighting, tired of carrying responsibility, tired of appearing strong. You have become the one others depend on, the one who comforts, the one who gives, the one who keeps going. And sometimes you wonder, who carries me, who notices my heart, who understands my exhaustion? I do. I notice. I understand. And I never asked you to carry life alone. Bring your weariness to me. Bring your fears to me. Bring the questions, the confusion, the disappointment. You do not need polished prayers. You do not need perfect words. You only need honesty, because I am not searching for performance. I am seeking relationship. My child, do not allow exhaustion to convince you that your future is empty. Tired hearts often make hopeless conclusions, and hopeless conclusions become dangerous when repeated long enough. Before you leave, write, "Thank you, God, for what is coming," and stand in faith today. So I am interrupting those conclusions now. You are not trapped. You are not stuck forever. You are not disqualified, and your story is not over. The enemy told you the closed door meant defeat. But he misinterpreted the season, because what looked closed was preparation, what looked final was transition, and what looked like loss is becoming revelation. I know you cannot see everything yet, but you do not need to see everything. You only need to remember who walks with you, and I am still walking with you. Closer than fear says, closer than loneliness says, closer than disappointment says. So lift your eyes. Do not stare endlessly at yesterday's doorway. Do not camp beside what ended, because movement is beginning, and I am preparing your heart to recognize what opens next. My child, there are moments in life when you stand between what was and what will be, and that place can feel uncomfortable, because the old chapter no longer fits, yet the new chapter has not fully appeared. You feel suspended. In between. Not where you used to be, but not yet where you long to go. And that space often creates confusion. You ask, what am I supposed to do now? Why does everything feel uncertain? Why do I feel restless? But hear me carefully. Transition is not abandonment. In-between seasons are not evidence of failure. Sometimes I allow you to stand in unfamiliar spaces because I am teaching you not to depend upon what is temporary. You have spent years relying on things that could not fully sustain your soul. If you believe God is opening a new door for you, right? God is making a way. Human approval, predictable routines, visible security, comfortable patterns. And though these things are not always wrong, they become dangerous when they replace trust. Because anything you depend on more than me will eventually disappoint you, and I say that not to condemn you, but to free you. My child, I know uncertainty frightens you. You want guarantees, you want timelines, you want certainty about how everything will unfold. But if I showed you the entire road, you might depend on the road instead of me. So I guide you step by step, not because I enjoy watching you struggle, but because relationship grows through trust, and trust deepens when control is surrendered. That surrender is difficult for you, especially after pain. Pain makes you want control. Disappointment makes you want certainty. Betrayal makes you want protection. Disappointment makes you want certainty. Betrayal makes you want protection. So your heart says, if I can control enough, maybe I will not hurt again. But control cannot heal fear. Control only disguises fear. And I am inviting you into something deeper than control. I am inviting you into peace, not peace because you know everything. Peace because you know me. There is a difference. Anyone can feel calm when circumstances cooperate, but heaven's peace remains even while answers are forming. And I want that peace living inside you. Because what I am opening next cannot be entered through anxiety alone. You need peace, you need clarity, you need spiritual confidence. And I am developing those things within you. My child, some of you listening have become discouraged because the closed doors touched your identity. If this message touched your heart, write, I receive this message. This was not merely about opportunity, it became personal. When the relationship failed, you questioned your value. When the promotion disappeared, you questioned your ability. When the dream delayed, you questioned your purpose. And little by little, disappointment attached itself to identity. That is why the pain felt so deep. You were not merely mourning a situation. You were mourning the version of yourself you feared was not enough. But listen carefully. A closed door does not define your worth. Human rejection does not define your worth. Temporary failure does not define your worth. You keep measuring yourself by outcomes. I measure you by identity. And your identity has not changed. You are still loved, still seen, still called, still valuable, still mine. Do not allow temporary circumstances to rewrite eternal truth. You are not what happened to you. You are not the betrayal, not the setback, not the delay, not the disappointment. You are more than the chapter that hurt you. And I need you to stop speaking to yourself through the language of defeat, because your inner voice has become harsh, more harsh than you realize. You forgive others more quickly than you forgive yourself. You offer compassion to strangers while starving your own heart of mercy. You replay mistakes repeatedly, criticize your weakness repeatedly, judge your journey repeatedly. And I ask you now, would you speak to someone you love the way you speak to yourself? Because I do not speak over you with condemnation. I correct, I guide, I transform, but I do not crush. The enemy crushes, shame crushes, fear crushes, but my voice restores. So learn to recognize the difference. If the voice inside you produces hopelessness, condemnation, and despair, that voice is not speaking my heart. Declare your faith today by writing, my door is opening, my child. There are doors I am opening that will require a healthier understanding of yourself. Because insecurity causes hesitation, and hesitation often delays movement. You ask for opportunities, then question whether you deserve them. You ask for growth, then fear visibility. You ask for purpose, then doubt your ability. And I understand why. Past wounds taught you to shrink. Past criticism taught you to hide. Past rejection taught you to expect less. But you cannot enter new seasons while chained to old self-perceptions. I did not create you to live permanently diminished. You are not called to disappear, you are called to become. That becoming process is uncomfortable, because growth often feels unfamiliar before it feels natural, and unfamiliarity can create resistance. You mistake discomfort for danger. But not all discomfort is harmful. Sometimes discomfort is evidence of expansion. The child outgrows old clothing. The seed breaks before growth emerges. And spiritual growth often follows the same pattern. So do not fear the stretching. Do not fear the change. You are not breaking apart. You are growing. My child, I know some of you are carrying disappointment toward me. You may not admit it easily, but it lives quietly in your heart. You prayed, believed, waited, and certain answers did not come the way you hoped. So disappointment settled inside you. And now you love me, but struggle to trust me fully. I already know this, and I am not afraid of your honesty. Bring me the disappointment. Bring me the confusion. Bring me the questions you hide, because wounded trust cannot heal while hidden. Some of you feel guilty for wrestling with these emotions. You think faith means pretending, but relationship with me is not performance. It is honesty, and I would rather receive an honest heart than polished words hiding pain. If you refuse to give up on God's timing, right, I will keep trusting God, my child. You have misunderstood certain delays. You assumed delay meant disapproval. But sometimes delay protects destiny. You wanted immediate arrival. I was building endurance. You wanted instant answers. I was building wisdom. You wanted open doors quickly. I was strengthening your foundation. Because if the blessing arrives before the character matures, pressure may destroy what favor provides. And I desire lasting fruit in your life, not temporary excitement, lasting peace, lasting growth, lasting strength. There are things you prayed for years ago that would have overwhelmed the person you were back then. But now you are stronger, wiser, more discerning, more grounded, and though the process felt painful, growth has happened. Write one word you are believing God for right now. No vigot. Healing, peace, breakthrough, restoration, or miracle. Do not ignore that growth. You keep focusing on what has not happened, but look at how far you have come. You survived storms that once terrified you. You carry wisdom that suffering taught you. You recognize patterns you once ignored. You see people differently. You value peace differently. You pray differently. You are not the same person, and that matters. My child, the enemy has worked hard to convince you that delay means defeat, because defeated people stop expecting. And people who stop expecting often stop preparing. That is dangerous, because some of you are praying for doors while living as though nothing will change. You have allowed disappointment to lower your preparation, lower your hope, lower your vision. But if you believe I am moving, then prepare your heart, prepare your faith, prepare your mindset, because expectation matters, not entitlement, expectation. There is a difference. Entitlement demands, expectation trusts. Entitlement says, I deserve this now. Expectation says, I trust God to move in His wisdom, and I am calling you into expectation again. Not because every prayer unfolds instantly, but because hopelessness is not your inheritance. Hope still belongs to you. My child, there are hidden fears you have not fully surrendered. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of disappointment, fear of success. Yes, even success. Because success brings responsibility. Visibility, change, and sometimes you fear the unknown more than you realize. If you've been waiting for God to move, right, God has not forgotten me, so part of you prays for change, while another part quietly resists it. But I am bringing alignment to your heart, because divided hearts struggle to move forward. You cannot spend every day praying for open doors while secretly fearing what those doors require. So I am healing the fear beneath the surface, healing the hesitation, healing the insecurity, healing the old wounds that whisper, "Stay small." But my child, smallness is not safety. Sometimes smallness becomes bondage, and I refuse to leave you imprisoned inside diminished living. There is more inside you than fear has allowed you to see. More wisdom, more resilience, more strength, more purpose. And the season ahead will reveal things about yourself you never recognized before. Not because you suddenly became worthy, but because you are finally allowing me to lead you beyond fear. My child, I know you feel tired, and tired people often misunderstand seasons. Exhaustion magnifies discouragement. It magnifies fear. It magnifies hopelessness. So be careful what conclusions you make while emotionally weary. Do not announce permanent defeat from temporary exhaustion. Rest if needed, recover if needed, cry if needed. But do not surrender hope. Because hope is still alive, and I am still moving. Some of you have been carrying burdens you were never meant to carry alone. You feel responsible for everyone, responsible for outcomes, responsible for fixing situations, responsible for keeping everything together, and that burden has exhausted your soul. But hear me now, you are not me. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. You are responsible for faithfulness, not omnipotence. Release what belongs in my hands, because when you try to carry what only I can carry, anxiety grows, and anxiety clouds vision. You need room to breathe again, room to trust again, room to rest again. My child, the door I am opening is not merely external. Type Amen if you believe closed doors are not the end of your story, it is internal too. I am opening doors of healing. Doors of confidence, doors of spiritual maturity, doors of peace, and these doors matter. Because some blessings arrive externally while the heart remains imprisoned internally, I do not want you blessed outwardly while suffering inwardly. I want wholeness, and wholeness is becoming your portion. So do not rush the healing, do not despise the preparation. Do not assume nothing is happening, because everything is not visible. Movement is already underway. And the reason this message found you today is because I am awakening expectation again. Not false excitement, not emotional hype, but steady confidence. The confidence that says, Yorniko, God is still writing my story, and that story is not finished. So stop staring at doors that permanently closed. Stop mourning forever what was never assigned to stay, and stop calling the season dead. Because what you thought ended, I am transforming, and what you thought was over may become the beginning you never expected. My child, stay close to me now, closer than before. because the next chapter will require discernment, humility, and trust. And I am preparing your heart not only to see the door open, but to walk through it with peace. Before you leave, write thank YOUGOD for WAMUOHET IS coming, and stand in faith today.